Got my pitchers correct. Only like 8 of them tonight.
You'll be getting an alert shortly.
There we go. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Whenever I get the alert, I know it's real. Welcome to the Awesemo.com live before lock show. That big gulp was awkward, not the most professional thing in the world. As always, I'm Chris Spags, joined by the handsomest, hardest working man in YouTube daily fantasy sports, Josh Engelman.
I like it. I'll take it.
So actually, a funny tangent, I actually complimented a guy in the elevator as part of my, I had an experience this weekend, which we don't talk about on this show, but I talked about my email address, or my email rather, newsletter. I've been trying to be nice with people, so I complimented a guy on his suit because he's wearing like a different color blazer and pants. And he was like, thanks, man. Like, I didn't even know, like, I just put this together today because my suit was messed up. So, like, I really appreciate you saying that. And, like, I made that guy's day is what he said. He might have thought I was trying to have sex with him in that elevator, but I'll take the positive side of it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, maybe he just was happy about the suit.
No, I think it was the compliment. Like, I think the thing is, we as men, we're trained to not compliment each other. So if I call you handsome, you're like, you know what? Thank you. Like, I appreciate that. I feel handsome. And I feel like that's just, it's a trickle-down effect for happiness.
Yeah, that you can get one of two responses from him. He can either be, like, really appreciative or, you know, there can be some really unsavory words coming right back at you for said compliment.
We are in Los Angeles, like maybe in Wilmington. Perhaps it might go a different way. It might end up a little more like a scene from Boogie Nights. But
yeah, that's a great point. Way more commonplace in LA, I'm sure.
But you know, and guys love being complimented on their wardrobe. Guys are always better dressed than me because I just go around like wearing, like, when I'm walking my dog, just wearing basketball shorts and dressed like a bro and walking his dog. And there are guys who are just wearing like full top, like to the nine suits and like camo and shit. And it's just like, I mean, not that camo's fancy, but like fancy boy camo, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I live for compliments to my sneakers when I'm out.
And your hats now. Now you have such a great hat collection. I feel like if you met someone who was like, yo, that hat's real fresh. I don't know why the guys talk like that, but because he likes hats.
I was walking down the street with my wife. We were out for the night, and I had a new pair of Jordans on and got stopped by, you can imagine who these people were when they were like, yo, those are sick. And it was just like, thank you.
It's a good feeling, though. Like, it's almost like you got a hood pass when you have, like, the Jordans or the hat.
Yeah. He dapped me up as we like walked down the street, and like we just went on our merry way. And I was like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, we are talking about more than me complimenting people in fashion today. We are going to talk MLB and NBA. We're also going to talk about slam dunks, a couple that might be tough to swallow, but that the data fully supports going with.
Trust the process, people.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Let's talk NBA up front because there's been big NBA news, a lot of stuff that people are going to have to adjust last minute. I was actually just adjusting before we came on because Joel Embiid is likely to play. He will test it out pregame, test out his face pregame. It's tough to test out the face. I don't know what that's going to be. But he will test it out in the pregame workout, but it looks like he's going to play. His little Embiid, or his little Instagram Embiid bitch session did work out. That means that we now have Hassan Whiteside. He of very little effort, he of very little skill, he of very little motivation, is now a slam dunk. And it might be hard to avoid him because he's so cheap because of how terrible he's been. How are we feeling on that? I mean, he's a slam dunk, so it's hard to dispute it. We've said that a million times here. Awesemo knows better than I do. Knows slightly better than Josh. I'll give Josh more credit than I get.
Why are people talking? Why is somebody talking crap about my playline skills? I finished in the money.
Oh, wow. I finished in the money, too.
Hold your horses down. Yeah. I finished 222nd, 220th. Finished in the money. And our site won it.
So that was kind of a thing where I felt weird about, where it's like, oh, have this contest, and then just like Alex has the top 3 of the top 10 entries. It's like, thanks for the money, assholes.
Yeah.
That's actually how we're funding this site, is winning contests with our readers.
But yeah, finishing the money. Well, I mean, what am I supposed to do?
I mean, James Harden was a weird one. I was actually pretty close on LeBron. I went a little higher on mine, but it still didn't help that much. You know, that was my first go-around. I'm happy with winning a little money on it. Very little. Precious little.
Anyway, let's dig into NBA since it matters right now.
Yep. All right. NBA. So Whiteside, he's a slam dunk. You know, we tend to say the rule of thumb here is if somebody is a slam dunk and Awesemo's chosen them for it, there's usually a very good data reason why. Hassan Whiteside's very cheap right now on both sites relative to his upside. He's played big minutes in games against Embiid. Are you playing Whiteside tonight? I mean, do you trust that enough? There's risk. There's reward, obviously.
If I were playing NBA tonight, I would be surprised if I was above the field on Whiteside.
That's fair. I mean, what do we think Whiteside... actually, do we have our ownership projections updated yet?
I don't know. Let me check the Slack.
I have them all open, but I'm not sure.
Last update was right 10 minutes ago. So yeah, they're updated.
All right, so let me pull it up now. We'll find out what we're currently projecting Whiteside for. I have to assume it's going to be pretty big. I think my fear is just not having enough of him. And I think there's a very real chance he's played with some extra motivation versus Embiid all year. I don't know how you need more motivation than in the playoffs. We have him right now as 30% ownership on DraftKings.
30?
So 30%, yep.
Yeah, I would be hoping that I was under that.
Yeah, it's about what I'm at, I think, overall. I got in a couple handmade Whiteside lineups, but
I mean, don't listen to me. He's a slam dunk from somebody that's better at this than I am. So, there's a reason.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I battle. Like, now this is what I battle every single day, Josh. It's like my brain being like, I get it, I don't feel that way. And you know what? It's silly to sometimes think that way. He's projected for the same amount of ownership on FanDuel. We have 31% on DraftKings, 32% on FanDuel for Hassan Whiteside. Ownership projections are a premium feature of Osmo.com. We give some away in here, the ones that are pertinent, the ones that we think you need to know the most. But if you want to construct lineups that aren't going to be as chalky or are going to have the right chalk, using our ownership projections on premium on Osmo.com are very helpful. They're actually a very good tool, I think, to build your lineups and to start kind of work backwards about who the guys you want to have, who are the guys you want to avoid. So think about that. Yeah. How do you feel about the trickle down of Embiid playing on the Sixers? They're still pretty cheap. They generally show that they're used a little less with Embiid, obviously, because Embiid shoots a lot. How do you think it affects the Covingtons, Reddicks, Bellinellis? Obviously, Ilyasova is going to be pretty affected, I would think. But how do you think it affects all those guys? Are they still playable?
Ilyasova is not, in my opinion. I think that this sort of just zaps him of all of his interesting stuff. I probably wouldn't touch Saric either. I don't think there's a huge it probably makes Redick a little bit less desirable, but I can still see playing him. I
mean, he needed the spacing pretty bad last time out. Like they were all over him, and he's not athletic enough to get a shot if it's not spaced. So I think he actually, data-wise, it might not make sense, but I think game plan-wise, I think he feels a little safer to me. Relatively speaking.
Look, I mean, we're inserting a guy in the lineup that I have projected for a 34% usage rate. So, that's soaking up a ton of stuff. I just, it's hard to play. It's hard to be wild about anybody else on the Sixers now. It makes them better as a team. It makes them less interesting as a fantasy play. I think across the board. Maybe not Simmons. Maybe it might not change Simmons. But they've been playing so differently lately. Very, very quick, very movie. So I'm anxious to see how much Embiid slows them down. Actually,
I agree with that. I think that's sort of where I feel like Whiteside might be more viable, is because the way that Embiid being out there, they're not going to be running. They've been at a high pace, even by their season-long pace. I think they've been up. They got up to top 4. They were at maybe 7 when they started before Embiid went out. So that shows you how much faster they've been playing. And obviously, you could see the amount of shots those guys have gotten in the playoffs, at least, especially in that first game. So you could see how there's a lot of trickle down there to how it could impact everything. And I just think a slowed down game could benefit Whiteside more. So in that respect, it does make sense to me. And obviously the financial part of it, where he's so cheap and could also, still put up 8x on that price.
Yeah.
The logic is there. There's a little more risk than I would like normally, I think, but the logic is there.
I'm going to take a look at what their pace is with him on and off in since February, I guess.
Oh, there we go. That's useful. Look at this. We're doing research as we go. I like this. And Cleaning the Glass, obviously, is a site that I was turned on for the first time from Josh's videos. It's a very helpful site to learn about the kind of analytic stuff. These aren't data points that directly translate to fantasy usage or fantasy points, rather. But there are a lot of pieces of information there where you can see how teams adjust, how different lineups adjust, and how the paces they play at, the rebounds they give up. There's a lot of useful things on cleaning the glass, which can be worth it if you're trying to go the next level beyond just the basic kind of points usage salary data.
Why can I not find stupid pace numbers? I know they're on here.
I don't know. I thought it was under 4 factors, but maybe not. I always use ESPN for pace the first because they just have the one page that I refresh. Donnie Boone, actually, we're going to talk about some more of the more of the NBA games. We also are going to talk MLB shortly, hit on the key stacks and all of that. But we wanted to get to basketball first because this is a pretty big news item that can affect a lot of parts of a key ownership game.
Well, whatever I'm trying to do doesn't matter now because I can't figure out where the stupid pace numbers are on here.
Okay. So I mean, the pace is going to be affected by Embiid in some way. Just, like, logistically, it's hard to imagine him running up and down the court as fast as they have been. So I'm going to say that alone is pretty straightforward logic there, even if we don't pull up the numbers on Josh's screen right now.
I give up already. Let's talk about basketball.
Let's see. The other games, I guess, where are the other places we're looking at NBA? Rudy Gay, I mean, we're anticipating to be a big play. He was also a slam dunk. I mean, he seems like one of the more straightforward plays on the entire slate that I think everybody will have a lot of him. Obviously, there's, it's hard to talk about San Antonio going through a lot, with the loss of Greg Popovich's wife, a beloved figure in the NBA community. You could see my column. I had the video today of LeBron being asked about it live from Allie LaForce. There have been quotes from all these people. It's a very meaningful game for them. So, not something where there's a direct impact on fantasy and that, you want to spin too many narratives, and also where you want to make it about that. But that is a game where one would assume they should be able to be doing everything they can to keep it competitive in the name of important person in their lives being lost. So I think that's something to think about. A lot of people will be looking towards Portland and New Orleans tonight. We have them as very highly projected for ownership for all the key guys in that game. Do you feel like maybe that game's being a little over-targeted, given the pricing of those guys? The Portland-New Orleans game?
Not really. I mean, that everybody just looks awesome for that game. It's hard to not want to go there. Like, I think AD looks great. I think Drew Holiday looks great. I think Mirotic looks really great on DK. I'm in for Rondo. Like, it's hard to not want to have a ton of Pelicans here. Coming home up 2-0. They've looked exceptional in these two games. I like Dame. I like CJ. Like, CJ at 6,700 on DK, man. That's crazy pricing. Dame at 8,900. I'd be okay with having almost all of this game if I could find a way to get it. Yeah,
I think it seems like a good on-paper matchup. And I think the one thing that I would say stands out to me is that the Philadelphia-Miami game has the same overall total as the Portland-New Orleans game. And I think a lot of people will start to overlook Philadelphia-Miami because of this Embiid being back and concerns about pace and confusion over Whiteside and who do we go with. But, those guys, I mean, the score is the same for both, and actually the spread is almost the same too. So I think there might be some people going a little too heavy for Portland and New Orleans. I also worry about Lillard. I'm playing a fair amount of Lillard tonight, and I'm watching some of the games and also just hearing people, like professional people, talk about it. Like Zach Lowe has pointed it out a lot in his column. A lot of the Ringer guys have pointed it out in their podcasts and written pieces, which I don't read as much. But I think,
just
being honest, the Ringer not so much. It doesn't do it for me on that front, but they try.
I used to go to Grantland daily.
Yeah. I think it was Zach Lowe for me. Like, I love their basketball coverage at Grantland.
Yeah.
And now Zach Lowe's not there, and I'm just kind of like, okay, you guys are okay on podcasts, but even then, I don't know.
Hate the name.
I have no issue with the name, but I do have issue with, like, they just write so many articles, and their website isn't that highly trafficked, and I think you're chasing your tail at certain points. But anyway, but Portland, Dame Lillard's been handled really well by Drew Holiday. They've hidden Rondo pretty effectively. They might do it less effectively on Mo Harkless tonight. But I think there's just some matchup things there that I worry about. I think Lillard's going to be very popular because people keep expecting him to snap out. and he might not. He can go off, and I believe he can tonight, but I don't know that I trust him. Let's see. Let's go to baseball because we've talked so much NBA. We'll come back to NBA obviously because we always come back to NBA, just like a lovely wife we have at home. Now we're gonna go cheat on her with some MLB. Not Josh. Josh is too loyal. But MLB. Who are your top stacks, pitchers, the usual stuff that you've already prepared and been looking at all day?
Yeah, Brewers and D-backs are still my top two favorite stacks. Pitching wise, Greinke for me. Eduardo Rodriguez is probably my second guy on FanDuel. Chase Anderson is probably my third guy on FanDuel. We'll be crunching it in 15-20 minutes. I'm also playing on DK tonight.
Ooh, welcome to the family.
So a lot of Greinke, a lot of Arrieta, probably a lot of Eduardo Rodriguez.
What about Jameson Taillon?
What about him?
His odds have jumped pretty substantially. His money line, he went from a +100 to a -118. The spread has gone down from 7.5 to 7. He also has, I think, an okay K per 9, pretty good xFIP, and he's also expensive. But no thoughts on him. He's not coming up for you.
Not so much, no. I'll confirm that again just in case, but I think I have a very minimal amount of him.
Okay. He looks similar to me as Maeda did yesterday, and Maeda ended up being a better play than Cole on a points per dollar basis, at least on DraftKings.
I have 3 lineups right now on FanDuel out of 150.
Wow.
And
so we do not like James Taillon.
4 of 20 have him in DK, which makes a little bit more sense.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, okay. I think that, to me, I would say Taillon stands out, but I get why. I think he's the highest cost pitcher on the slate, so I get why that's not great given the fact that his K per 9 isn't great and all that. But on a pure data thing, he looks interesting to me. I'm also an idiot sometimes with baseball, so let's note that as well.
Yeah, Greinke's $400 cheaper than him on FanDuel and has a gigantic chance at picking up a win, which is more valuable there. So it's kind of a no-brainer on FanDuel, at least. On DK, it's a little bit different.
You're not going back to the Trop tonight? Our boy Nick Tropiano, who we were really, I think, the only place in the world who was fucking touting the shit out of Tropiano that one night. But we're not going back to Tropiano town?
No, I think he's in 1 lineup right now, so he'll be in under 5 if I had to guess. And a little bit on DK, but I still need to refresh it again. Red Sox lineup just came out. Mitch Moreland's in, so I'll run this one more time, probably around 6:45.
All right, so we'll come back to that. So your stacks, if you're making those stacks, I think you said the Brewers, and I kind of brain farted on the other one right now.
Brewers and D-backs.
All right, so who are your main guys we're looking at? I assume if you're going D-backs, Goldschmidt's going to be a big one.
Yeah, huge. I'll start with the Brewers. Domingo Santana is one of my favorite plays on the day today. 2,700 on FanDuel, 3,000 on DK. Lorenzo Cain, similar scenario, 3,200 on FanDuel, 4,000 on DK. Those guys are going to be in a ton of my lineups on both sites. Scattered Brewers throughout there. After that, Christian Yelich is playing tonight. I'll have some of him. Travis Shaw, Jesus Aguilar. It's just going to be a lot of Brewers. And then for the Diamondbacks, a lot of Goldschmidt. Probably has the highest upside of anybody today. I'll have a ton of Kettle Marte again. Hopefully he stops putting up zeros. AJ Pollock, a lot of him. So it's 2, 3, 4 for me with the Diamondbacks, and then whoever can fill in to make the stack bigger just gets scattered in through it. But Marte, Goldschmidt, and Pollock are the guys that I have the most of.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we also have a ton of guys in the A range on Arizona in terms of value. And also Goldschmidt is the only points plus value guy. In terms of our rankings on Awesemo.com for our projections, we have him as getting an A in points, A in value. Then also the one on the Brewers who grades out the best, or the 2 grade on the Brewers are the best, are Cain and Domingo San, and we cut off the last name. So I assume it's Santiago or Sanchez. But
it's Santiago.
I got it right the first time. It just says Domingo-san, so it sounds like I'm going to say it in Japanese if I didn't know the name offhand.
Domingo-san.
which I'm offending then 2 different groups of people, which we need to avoid whenever we can in here. But there's a lot of A values on the slate tonight, according to Awesemo's rankings on the MLB slate. So, different directions you can go, different stacks you can build. Again, you know, we say this every time we talk baseball, but we're going to keep drilling it into your heads in the hopes that people learn and then hopefully win money therein. Stack up everything. If you see a game you like, you see a player you like,
stacks on stacks.
Stacks on stacks. Just keep making it rain stacks, because that's legitimately the only way you will ever win at MLB is stacking the shit out of everything. And that is thing. There's a lot of data to back that up. A lot of data that people smarter than us have researched. You need to stack everything. Everything.
Diamondbacks lineup just got released, people.
Anything noteworthy?
And I don't have to touch it because it's what I've had projected all day. So sweet.
So check Josh's projections too, so you know every single day. Are your projections premium too, or are you still free?
My projections don't exist at all for baseball.
Oh, that's right. Actually, we just talked about this. Never mind. We don't even want them public. That's Josh's.
They're not ready for public consumption yet. These NBA ones I've been working on for like 5 years.
Yeah, you're tweaking it. So I mean, there's maybe one day perhaps Josh will decide, hey, world, I'm ready to share myself with you, give all my projections, but that day is not today. That day is not today.
Yeah, it depends how many premium subscribers we end up with. Honestly,
that's true. Yeah, if we top 20,000 on the live stream, sure, Josh will roll his projections out, and we'll just hang out with Jake Paul and talk DFS.
I'll update projections every second if we get to 20,000 premium subscribers.
Yeah, look, we're doing all right. We're growing slowly but surely. People really appreciate our special brand of bullshit on this channel, I think, whether they're fading us or rooting for us. It's hard to say. Basketball. Actually, no. One more baseball question. How about a Brewer-Boston stack? Is that something good?
I don't love Boston, but like I get it. They're so expensive. I don't love the pricing of Boston. I'd be more likely to have an Angel stack against Eduardo Rodriguez because they line up a little bit better lefty-righty. I'd be more likely to want to go to a Braves or Mets stack along with the Brewers.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I agree with also Jake Hari. How are you going to stack against our boy Jake Hari, who does these baseball videos with Josh in the morning? And will be joining us on a live stream soon. He's getting an upgrade. He's getting the call up to the big show. But he is pointing out we are firmly Team Tropiano here. So also that's a reason not to stack Boston. Even if you're not playing Tropiano, fear the Trop. That is what we say here. Marte Gold Pollock. You aren't adding Ahmed to that? Any reason?
I am.
Okay.
Those three are like the core three. Every like a fourth guy on FanDuel will get just rotated through that. But Marte, Goldschmidt, and Pollock are the guys that are coming up like in an overabundance. I don't have anybody else that I would want to prioritize in the Diamondback stack. Like I'm happy to take whatever it gives me.
That's fair. Aguilar. This guy asking about Aguilar getting yanked mid-game. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that.
It's possible. It's definitely something you want to be prepared for. The way that they have the lineup set up right now, it could happen. It's certainly a risk. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Got it. Okay.
Because if they bring in a lefty to face Travis Shaw, Aguilar is going to stay on, and they're not going to bring in a righty just to face Aguilar unless like there's already a couple guys on. Would be my guess at least.
That makes sense.
If I'm thinking about that from like the way that I would play baseball.
Cool, that works. Let's cut back to NBA for a little bit. We got a little MLB in. We will take your questions as we go. If you do ask an either or question, we ask that you put in the name of the site you're on, because that helps Josh decide better with the pricing and stuff like that. So make sure you drop in if it's FanDuel or DraftKings when you ask us a question.
That's very
questions. A lot of Embiid questions. So of course we'll touch back on it again. Embiid should, in theory, put Whiteside on the floor, and should, in theory, cost Olynyk some minutes. Should, in theory, cost James Johnson some minutes. That said, Whiteside is a slam dunk today. We think he's a valuable play based on price. It's hard to also dispute he's been a piece of shit thus far this playoffs. So, I mean, it's two Twains coming together. What do you see versus what what data tells us, and we're going to find out. I think it makes, if you're playing multiple lineups, it makes sense to play a couple different builds for the outcome. So if Embiid runs Whiteside off the floor, then that should, in theory, open up more minutes for Olynyk. If Whiteside's active, Olynyk's going to get less minutes, and there's also going to be a slowdown game. So you got to kind of think about the waterfall effect of all these things and how it could come together. Real nice team together with a punt option in Bertans. How many minutes do you think he'll be around? Not a lot.
I have him at 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're getting points for inflaming the ire of Draymond Green, I don't think he's going to be a great play to go with.
Yeah, the Spurs could really roll out anybody here tonight, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, no, they do have some options. I personally am very big on Mills tonight. We have him as an A value in Osmo's rankings as well. So that's one that does jibe. He had a crazy usage rate last time out. Granted, part of it was because he was shooting. He was actually shooting okay. He wasn't even shooting that great. But he also shot 9 threes. And they need him to score because they don't have another scorer besides Aldridge who's on the floor enough minutes. So I actually do like Mills a lot, and obviously Gay as well. But I think Mills is a guy who people kind of keep overlooking, and I overlook a lot. But in the playoffs, you need a guy like him who can score, and he's scored well enough. Is Nurkic playing? He was questionable, but I think everything I've seen assumes that he's going to play. His minutes aren't great right now. I personally would have a hard time playing him even if he is active and we know it.
Agreed.
Josh, we talked about the Greg Popovich's wife situation before. It's something weird to kind of discuss in terms of thinking about DFS because it is a human being in a serious situation that sucks. So I think, it's tough to say. The Vegas line hasn't adjusted a lot. So Vegas isn't responding to it. I think people, you don't really know how it's going to go. I assume they're going to play very hard and they're going to play trying to win. Not that they haven't been in the playoffs, but if there's a little motivation, great. But it's still the same guys, I have maybe one lineup with Manu Ginobili because, maybe. But it seems like a weird thing to try to focus in on and try to find value in too much because, they're going to do the same thing and they might play a little harder, but you can't really bank on it.
Yeah, I don't.
And nor should you.
I don't mean this from a personal perspective, but I'm treating it like it didn't happen. It has no effect on the way that I would put together a lineup tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if you want to talk about the game in a sort of holistic fashion and, and you think that maybe the Spurs will bring a little more heat, I think that that's fine. But even then, like Tori in the chat is saying, I like Manu, maybe Tony. I think you could like Manu because he's getting the minutes and that maybe he's going to play with a little more motivation. But Tony Parker, I don't think is going to suddenly get 30 minutes after he's been playing 9.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I find that hard to believe. But the crowd will be exciting, and that is a thing too. There'll be a home crowd advantage, which is important in NBA sometimes. Back, down 2-0. So I think there's a lot of stuff that would benefit that logic, but who knows?
You got to remember too, people handle things very differently. One person might find motivation in this; the other might just be bummed out. We were talking before the show, Tony Parker has known her for 20 years. He was basically a kid when he met her. That's sad shit. Maybe he doesn't care that he's already down 2-0 in a playoff series when his career is basically over. Maybe he's just bummed out that a person close to him is no longer alive. You're not always just going to go out there and just torch the other team just because something negative happened. It could just be a major bummer for a team that's already on the way out.
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff that people have said today, about it, I think it's just important too, and it's not me being judgmental about it because I think the same things all you guys do. It's important to remember sometimes there is a human being on the end of it, and it's weird to talk about the stuff sort of completely coldly. I think.
Yeah.
So I think that's how I feel about it. But yeah, I think we've covered both sides of it well enough. So now we'll just ignore that part. But yeah, I agree with Beto. It's not irrelevant, but I think it's weird to kind of I've seen people tweeting about it today, as a time to win some money. Can we not do that, please? That's shitty.
if that were legit, the Spurs would be 2-point favorites now instead of still 3-point dogs. So
yeah, true. If anybody's gonna have no scruples about using a personal tragedy to make money, it's Las Vegas, and they are not currently doing that.
Exactly.
So Think about it. Dude won 100K by playing Gerald Green last night. You have to find a cheap 40-point player somewhere. Yeah, no, that's right. But again, you're talking about a situation where James Harden scored nothing and hit 2 shots, and when you play a guy like Gerald Green, you're playing this outcome that is wildly unlikely. And in DFS, because it is a game of skill, you're playing the likeliest outcome more than not. So, like, yeah, you want to scrape for a guy, sure. But if you're a person doing a single entry or something like that, like, there's no reason to, like, try too hard to find the Gerald Greens of the world when they're much more likely to fail than they are to succeed.
Yeah, like if we gave out James Harden's stat line at the beginning of our show yesterday, we probably would have loaded up on the Wolves and probably not, like, wanted to touch most of the Rockets. You know, if he's going to go 2 for whatever the hell he went, like, I'm going to assume they got beat. No, 1 by 20. Like, it's just... You can't even follow that pattern. That would tell you that that's a Rockets loss and they won handily.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. I think, too, like a lot of people, we've talked about this a couple times, a lot of people just keep farming for value and wanting to keep finding value the same way that you do during the regular season. And you'll see it pop up time to time, but on a night-to-night basis, like, you're better off not chasing the Gerald Greens of the world and just making steady plays who are going to get minutes and who are not going to screw up. Like, Mo Harkless, to me, has more internal logic to that play than Gerald Green, because Mo Harkless, at least, is going to be on the floor like 27, 30 minutes. He's been, like, heralded as a key player by, like, experts. I was saying the other day about how he's an important part of it because of what they do defensively. A lot of things that he opens up, and also his floor spacing, that he's good from the corners. So, like, yeah, Mo Harkless makes sense to me. Gerald Green doesn't, because you're just sort of farming for stuff that's not there and forcing something. And you don't want to force things. Like, Josh has been a proponent of that. Don't force a play just because it's in your head.
Yo, we're at 306.
Oh, hey, good job for us. People probably appreciate my compassion towards the Popovich family. I think that's what the internet looks for.
Maybe the dude who you complimented on his suit is like super into DFS and told all of his friends.
He's like, I knew I recognized that guy. I've been watching his live stream where he's wrong, like, on things that he gets really animated about. Let me tell everyone. Yeah, Antoine Murphy is right, too. Mo Harkless is a Gerald Green type price, but not Gerald Green ownership. Yeah, I think that's fair. Again, you don't need a 3% guy to win. You need a 3% guy if he goes for 45 points. And if you find me a 3% guy who's going to go for 45 points tonight, good for you. You're probably going to win a tournament. But I don't think it's Mo Harkless. I don't think Mo Harkless has gotten 40 points all year.
Nah, he went off for a nice stretch. He
wasn't getting 40s, though. He was in the 30s pretty firmly, I think. I'm going off memory.
I would guess that he did. But, it's a safe bet to take. I don't know. I'll bet some Chick-fil-A on that shit.
I don't believe in it enough.
I don't believe in it at all, but it'd just be fun to do. 41, second to last game he played.
On FanDuel, though, how about DraftKings?
It'll be more on DraftKings.
Damn it.
Or at least it should be more on DraftKings. Barely.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't mind. I'm playing Harkless, so I'm arguing a point which I don't even fully believe.
Hold on. 38.5. Did he get one?
Ooh.
You might be right.
Hey!
You're right. 38.5.
Everyone, remember and mark this chat down for the moment that I was right.
I guess we were both right.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, I wasn't very right, considering I assumed that it had happened more than once, and I didn't think that it happened in the second to last game that he just played.
It's funny because, like, I could see my own reaction on the YouTube video now, and I'm like, good for you being happy, Chris, in the past 2 seconds ago.
I never thought about it like that. That's fun to think about. Just, like, going back and watching yourself on a delay, being like, oh, remember that time you were happy 10 seconds ago?
It's such a fleeting feeling for me that when it happens, you got to cherish every time you get to see it and embrace it.
These type of thoughts are brought to you by marijuana generally. Not a lot of people out there being so introspective when they're not baked.
It's a good point. Let's see. A lot of Harkless talk. Danny Green lock. Danny Green's not a lock. Danny Green could not be less of a lock.
No, I like Harkless a lot tonight, actually. On FanDuel, 3,600, like, that's a nice play to make other things work. And when I say a lot, like, I don't mean I expect Harkless to be really good, but at 3,600 for a guy that should play a bunch, those are the sort of values that I'm willing to take a chance on in the playoffs.
That makes sense. Louis R has asked about Ben Simmons a bunch. Ben Simmons has been better with Embiid on the floor generally before this run that he's had. So I think I still like Simmons, but I like Simmons the same way I liked him before for like a 5x play. I don't think he gets 7x or anywhere even close to that.
I don't think I like Simmons tonight.
You don't like Simmons?
Oh, man, he scares me. I don't like him on DK.
He's expensive. He's like over 10,000.
Yeah, I think that Embiid's return here might negatively impact him. He wouldn't be a guy I would want a ton of.
Yeah, I agree with that. Though, as Nick Davis points out, you do never like Ben Simmons.
I liked him in Game 1.
That's true. You did actually. I do remember we had.
I think it was Game 1. It was either Game 1 or Game 2, but I definitely liked him in one of those two games. I mean, my numbers like him a little bit. You know, B+ is generally higher than he normally is on FanDuel. I'm just trying to think about this from like an actual game perspective. I don't know. Like I think it pulls too much away from him tonight with Embiid back.
The thing too is though he gets his assist, he gets his rebounds. I mean, I don't think he's going to be heavily affected. I think the issue is more so just Simmons' price. I don't think he has a ton of upside on his price.
I agree with that.
At the same time, I do have one lineup that I'm looking at right now where I have Simmons and Embiid, and I have Bellinelli then to fade like the Redick, Covington, like that kind of usage. So like I'm saying that like basically the starters are taking the most usage. Simmons and Embiid are going to be the focal points, and then Bellinelli will come off the bench and do what Redick has done. That's my logic. I don't know if it's the best logic, but I feel like it just worked with the prices. I felt okay about it.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that's where we're looking at Simmons and Embiid. It's like you're thinking about it more in terms of a game stack. I would have a hard time rolling either out as like, oh, we need to play a shit ton of Simmons. We need to play a ton of Embiid. I don't think that's logical.
Agreed.
Embiid, Durant. Oh, this is just a prediction. Okay. Marcia Suarez says Embiid, Durant, and Dame will go for 200 points, and then Harkless has to get 40 somehow. So that's what people are thinking. I think a lot of people are going to try to cram people in today. I can already feel it from what I've read, from what I've seen from the chat. Do not always try to cram people in because it is not the regular season.
I love it when I cram it in.
No better feeling in the world when you're cramming it in and it comes out beautifully. Yeah. You want to do wordplay, Josh? We'll do wordplay.
Sometimes I don't think about it. Sometimes I forget what I'm doing. Sometimes I forget that this is like public now and not just the way that I would respond if we were like sitting at the bar.
That's fair. I mean, look, the people probably appreciate it. Look, we passed the high for the day. We're now at like 315. So the people love it when you cram it in.
If we hit 316, I'm going to stone cold 2 beers while I sit here. I'm not actually going to do that. I would get beer all over my computer.
When I was at Barstool, we had a shtick where I would let our little like very thin, frail pro wrestling writer kid who was like a 19-year-old give me stone cold stunners sometimes. Like where I would like try to be friends with him and I would try to cheers beers and then he would just like stun me. Taking a stunner was one of the most satisfying things I've ever done in my life.
I remember taking a bunch of them into a pool. That was more diamond cutter than stunner, but either way.
I sold, I actually have it on my Instagram, so I think I have both of them on my Instagram. Instagram.com/ChrisFags. If you want to watch me get stunned, if you find my tips annoying, or just my general, demeanor, watch me pretend getting beaten up. I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I just have pictures of my dogs.
I have mostly that. But, sometimes you got to take a stunner. Sometimes you got to take a selfie of yourself drinking so the world knows, hey, this is a good face. My face has been in better health than Joel Embiid's currently.
My dogs were stars on Instagram today, on my doggy daycare Instagram.
Why are they in daycare? Oh, they're just daycare every day?
The boxer goes to daycare twice a week to, let off some steam.
Got it. Yeah, that's how my dogs are, too. We have to go to the park, every day or they become assholes.
Yeah, he was there today just, playing in the pool and drinking out of the hose and stuff, so he looked like he had a blast. They posted a bunch of pictures of. Yeah, it makes me so happy. I'm such like a proud dad.
Yeah, I always have a fear. Like my older dog would always get like a little temperamental after 4 days or so if I left her in boarding for like vacation. So now they get home boarded. I realize like for her it's probably just like jail. Like at first it's like vacation, but then it's sort of like, oh shit, what if I'm here forever? And you got to like fight for turf. I think the intermittent visits is probably much more beneficial for everyone involved.
Yeah, I took the pug to the beach today for a walk, so he was pretty happy too.
Look at your dogs are having great lives. I feel like you're making the most of that.
They had a very good day today.
Good for you. Good for you and your dogs. Everybody, Josh, tell your dogs they're handsome too.
They are handsome.
They are. I've seen them on the stream. Value of the night. Fake dark blue is really pushing Josh Richardson.
That's bold.
I don't mind Josh Richardson. I don't know that fake dark blue is on point with that many money bag emojis.
Yeah, I don't think that I would be as wild about Josh Richardson.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're going to the Heat tonight, you're probably going. I like Dragic though. Actually, Dragic has played better at first stretches with Whiteside. I think if Whiteside's effective, he creates some room for Dragic to score more and kind of get his little bullshit floaters and whatever.
Final lineup of the night. Giants just confirmed for people that care about baseball.
All right, so there we go. We'll go back to baseball. We'll take a speed round of questions on both sports now. What duo do you like more, Damon Aminu or Dragic and Mirotic on FanDuel?
Probably Damon Aminu.
It seems like that's got a lot higher ceiling.
Yeah.
I think that's basically what it is. Dragic and Mirotic might be a little more cash gamey, or a little safer, depending on what your lineup looks like. If you have a little bit more risk elsewhere, you might want to go Dragic, Mirotic. But I think the upside of Damon and Aminu is like 80 points between the two of them, maybe 90. Even if they're both having okay games or pretty good games. So I think that's tough for Dragic and Mirotic to compete with.
Agreed. Yeah, I have an irrational thing for Lillard tonight.
I do too. I actually walked back with him a little bit because, like, I believe he's good enough to overcome things, but man, he's really just like Drew Holiday might just have his number. I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't think that's a data thing where a guy just has a guy's number, but
I don't think it can always be a thing. Like I don't think there's any scenario where Dame Lillard is going to just only show up to games and be like, "Oh, I can't get it done tonight. It's Drew Holiday." Like
he's going to keep trying.
He's going to shoot his ass off.
Yeah, I agree. With Embiid back, Josh, I think you already answered this, but Embiid back, would you fade Ilyasova completely?
Yes.
Yep, I agree. I think obviously Amir Johnson too. It's tough to go with those guys. There's not enough minutes to go around. You got to come from somewhere. So I mean, if you want to go with guys, Covington. People have been asking about Covington. Covington, I think on a data basis, he doesn't look a ton better with Embiid playing. But again, you think about the floor spacing. Think about the fact that Covington put up 9 threes and couldn't get anything done last game. I think that he actually could be benefited by Embiid being back, even though it might seem like he's just going to lose usage. Marsha's coming in with some takes that I don't particularly love. Winslow is the Heat.
Marsha.
You go hit in the face with a football, Marsha. Winslow is the Heat guy you want, Marsha says. He'll get his minutes back with Embiid playing. I don't see how that works. That was not. Winslow was trading minutes with James Johnson. And James Johnson was sort of filling in for Embiid, in terms of Whiteside. But I don't see how Embiid playing gets Winslow his minutes back because you're going to need a more rugged guy to go against Embiid. I think if anything, Johnson will still have minutes. But
yeah, I don't
get
think
the Winslow
Embiid being back puts Justice Winslow on the floor any additional time.
No, I think that was just purely a playoff adjustment. Like there was one thing I wrote about today. In the fourth quarter of that game, Winslow came in for James Johnson, took 1 3. Spoelstra didn't like it, came back out. He played 1 minute, and Johnson just went back in. I think that's where we are with the Heat and the Justice Winslow experiment right now. Would you fade Wade on DK in single entry GPPs?
I don't. I just want to start a band called the Justice Winslow Experiment.
It's not a bad name.
No, they would open for like, I don't know, Fish.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that works.
What was the Wade question?
Would you fade Wade on a DK single entry tournament?
Oh my god. I mean, you can fade anybody.
That's also a fair point.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably not even have him. Let alone fade him. What do we have Wade ranked on DK?
We have Wade. Let's see. Ownership projections.
I meant like rankings, but either way.
No, I'm going to rankings now. I have so many tabs with our content open. I'm just engaging with all of it. We actually have him as a D and a D today.
Exactly.
So not great. Not great for D Wade. Huh.
Like I said.
I should have looked at our projections before making my lineups today.
Heavy on Wade, eh?
A little bit. I mean, the usage was good, but the thing that I wrote about today too was that he did get a lot more usage because Dragic picked up the fouls. Like in the beginning, that was a pretty big part of it. So that worries me a little. But I like Wade more than a D and a D. At least a C and a C.
I don't.
But, yeah, and it's funny because you've been on Wade I feel like more the first 2 games.
Price changed.
That's fair. A couple more hundred, I guess, could be enough.
Yeah.
Well,
and I was on Wade because I knew that there was going to be a day where Wade would be Wade. I thought it was the first game. It turns out it was the second one. I don't think that's going to be commonplace. I just knew that there was going to be a game where he was like, "This one's me."
Yeah, and this one too, slowing down a little more, possibly. It could be a spot where Wade doesn't have to do as much or even can't do as much just because it's going to be a slog. So there is logical to fading him. It's just a lot of people will play him, definitely. Let's see. Tonight and Saturday. No. Josh Renshaw is asking, will tonight and Saturday be the final 2 games of Wade's career? No way. He's back another year.
Fuck no. He thinks he's going to get paid again.
I actually wouldn't be surprised by that.
Yeah, I mean, it might be this final game of his Miami career.
How can you say not to play Ersan when the only reason Johnson was playing was to guard him? The reason Johnson wasn't playing was to guard Ersan. The reason Johnson was playing was to get boards and initiate the offense and move it around. He wasn't playing I don't think Spoelstra's ever going to play a guy just to guard Ersan Ilyasova. It's not the most logical thing in the world.
Anyone can guard Ersan.
Baseball question: Rojas or Ahmed?
Jesus Christ. Well, I assume we don't have any type of site or anything like that.
Oh, no, yeah. I should have just skipped that one because it didn't have a site on it, but I felt like we hadn't answered a baseball question in a while.
I'd be happy to answer that if we can get some additional details.
All right, well, Alfredo, let us know the site. We'll come back. Yeah, that's right. Torrey Rump's pointing out that Johnson was guarding Simmons. I did see Johnson guarding Simmons at stretches, too. I didn't know if that was true across the game, but it definitely wasn't. You don't bring in James Johnson like, hey, we got to stop Ilyasova. That's not the thing. It's just not the thing.
Evan Turner out.
Ooh, so Harkless, yes. Harkless is a better play now. That is for sure. Not that he wasn't a good play before, but yeah. I would say Harkless just got a little safer. So I think that's something. And also got a little better upside because the more he's on the floor, the more floor spacing he'll provide and the more chance he'll have to hit some of those corner threes that they've been needing. And Scott McMillan's also right. Pat Constant will pick up a couple minutes, maybe enough to be valuable. Probably not enough, though.
Circling back, the answer is Ahmed.
All right, there you go. On both sides? Or just...
it doesn't matter where.
All right, there you go. Alfredo, wherever that was. Yeah, Alfredo. The answer is Ahmed on DraftKings and on FanDuel. GPP FanDuel, could you give us some insight on Greinke ownership? You know what? You get your own insight if you went to osmo.com and signed up for a premium account, because then you would know you would know everything about it. I don't think we do MLB projections on a daily basis now. Do we? These are not up on the website. Yeah, I think we're doing them sometimes. To be honest, I don't really know the logic behind that. I think because I don't know. I don't know the logic behind it, but we do not have those today, unfortunately.
I would expect them to be more prevalent once the NBA is not as important, but...
Yeah, as you can tell, we are talking a lot of NBA still, and people tend to want more NBA still, even though the MLB season is going. So I think that's... boy, fucking tough slate. I got to get some more Harkless in. I'm going to put in more Mo Harkless as we talk. So we like Mo Harkless.
Embiid
We don't
starting.
like Evan Turner. What's your stance on Zach Collins tonight? Given that FanDuel has so few centers, Zach Collins is a center, a very cheap center who's been getting like 20 minutes ish, 22 minutes.
Zach Collins is definitely a center.
Okay, so you're agreeing on that.
Uh-huh.
Nothing else.
No, I don't want him.
Okay. I don't mind him. I actually had a little bit of Collins in a couple of lineups, like one or two, just because he made one lineup I think work. So I think that's fine. Yeah, guys, we have 3 minutes left.
I'd rather have Tom Collins.
It's a lovely beverage.
Gave me heartburn in college, so I haven't had one in a while.
Fair enough. MLB projection runs. Oh, here you go. Here's an MLB question for you, Josh. Beto asks, can you talk about MLB projection runs? Can you depend on it? The last two slates, Boston was projected 3, and they smashed it.
Yes, so depend on it in that it's the most accurate representation of what you could expect their runs to be. That doesn't mean there's not a large amount of variance on it. So, like, yes, you should depend on it. It's probably the most accurate indicator of the way that the game is going to go. However, if the Brewers are at, or like perfect example, the Red Sox are at 4.1 right now. Well, it's probably like a 15% chance they score 4, a 14% chance they score 3 or 5, a 12% chance they score 2 or 6. Like, there are a lot of very obvious permutations as that goes through. The problem is, like, you just don't have a choice. You need to use it as some sort of baseline. So I use it as my baseline. I attach everything to those numbers. It drives throughout my entire projection system. So it's like one of the most important things I use, but it's also only like a guidepost.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like you have to be able to build off of something there. So
yeah.
And if you have a strong feeling about something too, like a projection is a projection. I adjust mine. Like I don't do manual projections because I'm an idiot and I just never invested the time in doing it. But I like when I see a fantasy cruncher one I don't like an NBA and I just know like, oh, this seems low or it seems off. I'll adjust it manually and just try to get them into the range that I want so the lineups come out the way that I want.
Yeah. You gotta remember, like, every run that is scored is worth like 6+ points plus whatever kind of hit it was. So like it's 6 points ish every single time that comes in some way. So you want to try to maximize the teams that are going to be able to have those sorts of outcomes.
That makes sense. By the way, 1 minute to lock, or probably mere seconds by the time you're watching this. Josh and Chris, do you think KD and Lillard score 30 natural points? I like natural for that. KD, I could see at least getting close. Lillard, probably not today. I don't think. They've been taking care of him too well, at least for my taste. Hold on, fuck. Let me get one more.
I think Lillard is more likely to score 30 than KD. I might not believe what I just said, but
the matchup makes more sense for it.
Close.
But, yeah. Hold on. Shit, did not get that one in. All right, well, fuck it. I got enough Harkless, I think. Again, like a lot of people are saying, we're probably in a world with a very chalky Mo Harkless. So that's going to be fun. Natural points.
I'm digging the E in Lillard.
Oh, by the way, I've been operating as though McGee is playing. I find it hard to believe that McGee is not going to play tonight, personally. But, we'll see. If I'm wrong about that, I apologize to both you and my bank account people on YouTube. Any other baseball? Baseball's got 5 more minutes, I think.
Yeah, hit us with baseball stuff.
Yeah, give us baseball. We doing any more crunches or all your shit in?
My shit's in.
All right. Yeah, it is. Crammed in.
FanDuel and DK.
That's right. Josh is doing 2 sites tonight, so we'll know which site's better. We'll know concretely by tonight.
Well, the answer is FanDuel. Accept your challenge on DK. Okay. I don't have one, Beta.
Yeah, I mean, Beto hasn't challenged me, so it's not
I have
asking
no
me.
notifications. I'd accept it if I could.
Oh yeah, let's see. I'm pulling up ownership now for the guys I have. Whiteside got to 30%. JJ Redick still at 30%. Dwayne Wade 26%. So fadeable, and possibly a kneecapping thing for a quarter of the lineups if Josh is right.
I've got some news as well. Now that I look at my phone, my state income taxes have been accepted.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I'm pretty happy about that because it would have been really weird if they weren't. Damn, Beto, I got it. I'm working on it here.
I think they always get accepted. It's just like they'll audit the shit out of you if they're like bad.
I don't get the sense they're gonna audit me. I paid them.
Did you pay enough? That's how they audit you.
I paid a lot.
When I had my own business, I got audited because I made the business made so much money. They audited me years later, and they just they're coming to take anything they can. I paid more than enough taxes too, but they just nickel and dimed every receipt I had, all this shit. Terrible. Tax the IRS. I'll go on a limb. IRS not the best.
I paid a lot this year. I'm not really happy about it.
You gotta. Well, this year will be better for you, right? Because you'll be able to do home office write-offs, get all that stuff. That's great.
Yeah.
That's what you need. That's a sweet spot.
Beto, how big is this? God damn, Beto, I'm working on it. All right.
Beto, I've always said that Beto's a little needy. I've gone on the record as saying Beto's a little needy.
I think people keep accepting the head-to-heads. I tried to play it. Okay, I've got. It looks like we're playing a head-to-head, so I'm coming at you, Beto.
The important thing is you tried either way.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Well, any more baseball questions? Trickle them in. Tomorrow we'll have a very special 420 show where it actually won't be 420 at Pacific time, but it'll be thematically 420.
Yeah, it'll matter to me.
It is the time of year. Actually, there is one good thing where my delivery dispensary out here, they're waiving the tax in LA, which is 30%. So it's just back to an illegal weed day here in LA.
There you go.
Beto, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just pointing out that sometimes I'm always clingy, or not clingy, rather commitment phobic. So whenever somebody's clingy, I notice, and I'm eyeing you, Beto. Well, yeah, why do people play against Josh? You're playing against a guy who knows his shit. I agree.
I don't know.
Could never beat Josh. Yeah, there's nothing else good coming in. All right, fuck it. Let's call it. We're doing a show tomorrow. It's Friday.
No, I'm not gonna do it. I was gonna throw a random lineup into this qualifier, but I'm gonna pass.
I don't think you have enough time.
Oh, I have enough time. 40 seconds. I'm already here. I have the lineups in here already. I just need to click on
Dare
one.
you? Then why don't you do it, pussy?
All right, we'll do a couple of them. We'll do this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, 4 lineups in the qualifier.
Another YouTube live stream where one host is saying I could do it, and then the other host calls him a pussy, and then he does it.
Yeah. Dude, if I win the qualifier, be sweet.
Then we'll know that I just have to insult you for good luck every episode instead of calling you handsome. We're sending mixed messages today.
I assume that I would have to take the wife, but it's in San Diego, so if I do win this ticket, come down, we'll party.
Okay, that's a fair deal. Beto, I'm Chris Spags on DraftKings. I'm Chris Spags on literally everything on the internet, so that's how you can find me anywhere.
I'm Josh Newman on literally everything on the internet.
You are getting 2 men who own their names everywhere.
Yeah.
What a treat.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. We will be back tomorrow with another Live Before Lock show, same time as always. Make sure to go to awesemo.com, AWESEMO.com. Check out our rankings. Check out our projections if you are a premium member. They are awesome. They really help out a lot. Pardon that was not meant to be a corny little tie-in thing, but the projections really do help. And make sure you're checking us out every single day so you know how to build your lineups, how to avoid bad chalk, all that stuff. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos, watch Josh tomorrow, watch Josh and Jay Kari tomorrow. And
for those of you that are still on, I'm gonna talk a little bit about basketball at the end of the baseball video tomorrow. So if you've got a clamoring for my basketball videos, it's not gonna be independent, but I'm gonna do 5 minutes at the end of the video on my thoughts on the NBA.
There you go. So Josh, you're getting a little more Josh than you wanted, and or a little more Josh than you expected. Now you're getting what you wanted out of him. Yes. Even better.
And Young T. Du Bois Hood reviews. I'm cooking a pork tenderloin wrapped in bacon with some roasted broccoli. Bam.
Ooh. I think I'm going to the bar, and I don't know what I'm going to eat today.
There you go.
Different lives.
But thanks some sushi for lunch.
Ooh. What kind of sushi? What's your roll choice?
So I'm really into plain roll. So plain salmon roll, plain tuna roll.
Okay. I mean, you can taste the fish more, so if you're getting a place with good quality fish, that is what they say.
And I am. That is why I do it. It ends up being like an overwhelmingly large portion of the fish, oddly enough. I'll have to take a picture next time. They're crazy huge. It's way better than like any other generic roll. That's why I get it, because it's so much like actual tuna and salmon. It's crazy.
Well, the best sushi I ever had was like just sashimi from this place that Sushi Yasuda in Midtown that Anthony Bourdain had recommended, and I was like, I have to go there at some point. Went there, and it was like amazing. I expected kind of these like wacky chef's choice things like I had at another high-end sushi place, and it's just like the dopest cuts of like fish in the world, where like every piece is like butter.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the best. Cool. We can talk sushi tomorrow. On the Weed Show, we'll talk sushi.
Yeah. It'll be fun. I might not play tomorrow.
All right, guys. Yeah, we'll let Josh go eat. I'll go drink, and we'll hopefully win some money. So good luck. Go Mo Harkless. Don't go. Or go Hassan Whiteside. Yes, definitely go Hassan Whiteside. Go Dwayne Wade.
Adios, everybody. Good luck.
All right, bye, guys.